Yeah, cross our fingers. We're moving forward. Just had practice and been sharp this past week. It's hard to imagine. It's been 8 months, since we've gone against somebody else. And as a coach over the last week, I kept saying, we need to play somebody else because at this time we would have played multiple games. But even if this was the regular first game, we would have had a couple close scrimmages against other universities or an exhibition game. So like the old coach, I kept saying we got to play somebody else, and then probably after a game or two, I'll be saying we need more practice. So, but it's an exciting time. Our guys have been tremendous, handling everything, being here since July and preparing and now we go and open up tomorrow and then fly right out to Connecticut to play two, maybe a third game out there, and then the rest of the non-conference is pretty well set. And obviously the biggest change for us is playing two games before Christmas in league. Starting at Cincinnati and having Wichita State at home is a pretty good start for us. So excited about it. Pleased with our guys' progress. Alexis has been full contact for the last 8 to 9 days and has looked pretty good. A little rusty, but in first 3 practices was our leading rebounder in practice, so some things never change. So we're going to continue to progress him slowly. Obviously, I defer to our medical staff on that, but he's feeling good and is excited to get out there and play.
Last time we talked to you, that non-conference schedule was pretty much shot, basically, and you kind of had to rebuild it. In that sort of crunch time, how was that sort of process of just piecing it back together?
Well, as I've told Michael Kelly, our athletic director, flexibility is my new middle name, all right? Which, if you know me well enough, is not really congruent with the way I normally am. But what we've had to do is restructure the entire non-conference. But we've also, in the meantime, our objective still was to build a quality non-conference schedule and the opportunity to go to Mohegan Sun and play one of the best teams in the Atlantic 10 in Rhode Island with probably the premier guard in that league in Fats Russell, and then also to play Virginia Tech out of the ACC. Mike is one of the best coaches in the country, did a great job his first year. They got everybody back and added some new guys. So those 2 tests, and then the in-state teams of playing Stetson and playing FAMU, and then going to Atlanta and playing LSU, top 10 team. We've put together a pretty competitive non-conference schedule, and we're still finalizing that 7th game right now. So it'll be a test. We'll know where we're at, and it will be really good for us playing those games heading into all conference play.
Coach, several coaches have tested positive for COVID, including your friend Tom Izzo. How are you and your staff doing, and how frequently do you guys get tested?
We get tested as a staff 5 times a week, where the players are getting tested every day, and sometimes it's every day for us as well. I had it in the summer, and obviously, I'm still being tested every single day as well. So we have to try to, obviously our number one goal is the safe and healthy of our guys. As I said time and time again, and I don't know if we even say it enough, I know I don't, because of USF Health, we have an unbelievable situation for the health and safety of our players. That partnership that we have has put us miles ahead of other programs in this country. And because of that, the daily testing has gone well. And so far, the results have been good, and I don't think anybody realizes the sacrifice these young athletes are making on a daily basis to try to stay safe and try to stay healthy and try to stay away from any possibilities of catching the virus. And it's hard on them, And that's why, too, you know, just the opportunity to get out and play games is going to be really good for him.
Coach, you got a lot of newcomers in the front court. How have they developed during the workouts and practice?
Well, you know, and I think one of the things for us that's been really good is, you know, iron sharpens iron. And so now there's a competitive factor every single day, not just in the post, but on the perimeter. But with our big guys, it's been really good. And what's happened is both Prince and Russell have made great strides because every day they're going against Mike. And now Lex back in the mix. He's been able to progress faster because of going against big bodies and different things like that. Luke has made dramatic improvements, you know. It is not for the meek down there, I can tell you that, you know, with the size and strength that all 5 of those guys have right now. It's been good. And guys have shined differently on different days. But the biggest thing for me is there's been progress in every single one of those players. So I'm really pleased with those guys. And they need to anchor our defense, as you know, and they need to do a great job on the glass for us to be the type of team that we want to be.
X obviously started a lot of games down the stretch last year. I think 11 starts down the stretch.
Yep.
But, you know, how has he developed as a point guard and kind of taken the next step to be the starter full time?
Well, I thought he had as good a summer as anybody else. Now, he's been sidelined, banged up a little bit, and started back in practice just a few days ago. And, you know, he looks good. You know, he knows our system. He's our best communicator, offensively and defensively. And what it does do is it lessens the burden on David and JB, and then obviously it lessens the burden on Caleb Murphy as a freshman to have a guy that he can play with alongside of, but also learn the system and the nuances of what we're trying to get done. So again, as I said earlier, I think having him around has sped up the process for some of the younger guys, including, and I mentioned it in the past, Jameer Chaplin's probably our most improved player, you know, but having that type of competitiveness every single day has really accelerated progress among some of those guys who maybe didn't play as much last year, or guys that are going to have to play bigger roles this year.
You mentioned Jameer again. You know, thinking about the lineup, and JB, has he become the 3? I mean, it is the 3-guard approach you have right
Yeah, I mean, I think now in year 4 we're able to maybe not be restricted in what position or how we do things. You know, in the last couple of years, LaQuincy used 80% of the ball screens, or that point guard position did, and then David another 20 to 30%. Now I think we're able to mix that around a little bit. And then the other thing that happens is once a play breaks down, to be able to make plays, now you have multiple guys out there, you know, and it's good, you know, with Lex and Prince is getting better at it, and now you have a 4th. Anytime you have a 3-man that can handle the ball and make plays off the dribble, and a 4-man that can take care of the ball and also help facilitate the offense, offensively you become much better, and we're getting to that point.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, in 8 games, Florida College has played exclusively man defense, but with your size and their lack of, got to think you're seeing some zone tomorrow. How do you feel about your zone offense at this point?
You know, we've probably worked more on zone offense and our zone defense. I know you guys will laugh because we've played like 5 possessions of zone defense in the last 3 years. It did help us win the SMU game, though, at the end of the year. We've worked much harder on that because of our size and stuff like that. I think you're going to see it. We have, you know, again, the key, your zone offense is always good if you can make some shots. You know, you can run the best zone offense, and then if you don't make the shot at the end, it doesn't really matter. But we have a much better feel against the zone. We have guys that can make plays and have a better feel for the game in terms of flashing and cutting, and when the play breaks down, being able to make the extra pass or cause the zone to get shifted, and now you find the open man. So I think we'll see some tomorrow for sure, and I feel pretty confident in our ability to attack it. Now, our best offense sometimes will be the missed shot and then go up and get it. You know what I mean? Because we have a chance, if we go and play with the energy we want to play with, to be just a tremendous offensive rebounding team. You know, because we have size, but we also have JB and Chap and David Collins from the perimeter that could be very, very good offensive rebounds for us.
Is efficiency really the final step that DC's got to take in order to be considered one of the best guards in the country?
Yeah, that is, and I think that consistency, because there's been games he's been very efficient, you know, and that's, you know, that goes to shooting percentage, 3-point field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and assist to turnover ratio. And his numbers in practice have been dramatically higher after 30 practices this year than they were last year. And, you know, the one of the biggest things, he's obviously the best in our league, in the history of our league, in terms of getting fouled, okay? The next step is when he's off the ball to be thinking shot as much as drive. And I think he's dramatically improved in that area. So I think you're going to see a much improved David Collins, and the efficiency is his biggest hurdle, the last hurdle that he needs to clear.
After having seen what football's gone through with the quarantines and taking things week by week and games getting postponed, are you kind of tapering your expectations as to how the college basketball season is going to go?
No, you know, and that's a great question. I think you taper your expectations are, will we play every game that's on the schedule? You know, but I think one of the biggest things that we did from day one, a little over 3.5 years ago, was our expectations is to compete every day, improve every day, and continue to get better. The games are great, but for 340 days a year, you're not playing games, you know? So, and that's where our guys have been really, really, really good, just in terms of every day you're making an investment in yourself, in your future, and in this program. Will there be disappointment when games are canceled or postponed? Yes. But the one thing I talked about, the flexibility, we got to be ready to pivot. And if we're getting ready to play Team A and they can't play and Team B can play and we need to make an adjustment, then we got to be able to do that. And that's also now where you stick to your core values and your principles of your program. This is what we do, and it doesn't matter who we play. If we play South Florida basketball, we're going to be in a position to be successful. So that's been preached time and time again, because as you said, there is still so much uncertainty out there that you got to be able to have some things that we are certain about, and that's every day we have an opportunity to get better, individually and collectively.
Was having to redo your non-conference schedule kind of setting a tone to that? We've got to learn to pivot and learn to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, as I said, we spent a long time getting a really high-level non-conference schedule set up. But there is no time for, you know, being disappointed or discouraged. You got to take a step back, solve the problem, you know, solve the problem. They're complaining and making excuses. It's never improved one thing. So you just take a step back and, like I said, solve the problem. And I think our staff, with, you know, obviously kind of spearheaded with Tom Harrion, we've done a great job of putting us in a position to have the high-quality non-conference schedule.